That is unlucky. Unlucky on the side of WE there.
That has to be the fastest lock-in of a pick. See, like, I didn't even get to talk. I was like, well, I guess with the Renata ban, Zeri... Oh, okay, it's been locked in already. So,
Yeah. Similar for the Gwen here, but immediately answered by Xing with a Lucian down in that bottom side.
Okay.
Are LNG willing to go for like a Nami Zeri combo? I don't really know how good that is as a combo, but can you afford to go up against the Lucian Nami is the question.
yeah, I mean, we've seen this be run into, you know, multiple different Zeri lanes, and yeah, it just doesn't particularly look fun. So we'll see whether or not LNG are willing to take that one away. What they are willing to pick up is this Jax into the Gwen. And yeah, certainly a matchup that we know for the Jax side of things. It doesn't really need much to get going. Gwen can definitely very much struggle, even at the one item power spike where Gwen, it feels like, really comes online and starts to deal even more damage out of lane. Jax just kind of outscales her, even at that point. It's going to feel really bad, so we'll see what W are going to do about this top side matchup. But on the bottom side matchup, they should have complete control. Nami Lucian into Zeri and this Yuumi lock-in. Sure, the scaling is there for LNG, but that laning phase is expected to be borderline miserable.
Yeah, I mean, Yuumi just coming out and ruining games in every region. We saw a Yuumi first pick earlier today at LCK. How disgusting is that as a concept? We got Alessandra banned away by WE as we move towards our second phase here. Talk to me about the styles of these compositions, because I feel like very aggressive on the side of WE. I feel like a lot of all in there with the Lucian Nami. But for the side of LNG, like Jax typically, you want to be playing side lanes, right? So like, how do they draft around what they have?
Yeah, it's a little more unwritten here for LNG. I think their comp can go in multiple different ways. I think the Yuumi kind of enables a pick like Jax to even team fight a fair amount as well if LvMao ends up on the back of Pandac. So I think there's plenty of options. They can play, you know, a very roam-heavy style, which W at the moment, they've banned away the Lissandra. They don't want to have to deal with Doinb on that one. They could also go for, like, another heavy roamer, but it seems like they're more interested in taking the Trundle off the board, which indicates to me that perhaps they're looking towards the Poppy to try and just get a very strong jungle matchup. But I think LNG, their comp is a bit unwritten, like we said. I think for WE, they're a little more static, I suppose, in the sense of they're probably going to go for a very aggressive jungle matchup, and they're just going to try and slam this 2v2 in the bottom side. Taliyah actually made it all the way through draft to R4. And being hovered by W indicates to me that they should probably just take it, but maybe they don't want to blind pick into Doinb, and it looks like that is the case. They'll pick up the Zhao. Like we said, we want to see an early aggressive jungler, and they will do just that.
Yeah, so View goes with that Zhao in the end. I feel like the Poppy going all the way to this ban stage was kind of scary on both sides. But now we'll see where LNG want to go with their mid lane and with their jungle pick, because jungle will have counter pick, but Doinb has to go blind. We saw the Taliyah hovered by WE. Looks like that might be the pickup here for Doinb, but I like it because once again, it brings proactivity to that mid lane, and that's what we want out of Doinb.
Yep, absolutely it is. And I think when you were talking about and asking me, how could LNG round out their composition, spoke about the potential of just kind of getting a roaming mid in to kind of enable a 1-3-1 type style, or go towards the top side to make Pandac have as easy a time in his matchup as he can. Taliyah's going to do that just fine, and the Viego, if this does go through for Tarzan, which it will, still very capable despite the nerfs of skirmishing in the early game and getting a snowball running with a mid laner. And Shanks hovering over this Ahri, toying with that idea. We've seen the Ahri into the Taliyah a couple of times, or quite a few times rather, whilst originally it felt like that Taliyah definitely had the upper edge in terms of stopping her from using Spirit Rush. To be honest, if Ahri ends up getting ahead, she kind of doesn't care. She will just dash through it. As long as she doesn't get one shot by anything else, she'll happily go for the full commit. So it seems like WE more set up for the 2v2 in the mid jungle, 2v2 in the bottom side, and I feel like they really have to get the ball rolling early on. Otherwise, there's Yuumi Zeri scaling is going to come online. Jax as well is going to be an absolute menace, because even in these 2v1s, there's not going to be a lot of damage that's going to come down as long as he's got that Counter-Strike up and ready.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the big issues on the side of WE. And generally speaking, WE not been the quickest team in the league anyway during their 6 wins. Not had the quickest game time. So we'll have to wait and see how WE are going to approach this early game. I feel like LNG can play more of the style that we've seen from them across the course of the split. Not my personal favorite style of League of Legends, where you're playing it a bit slower, but for LNG, seems to be their comfort at very least. But I want to I keep saying at very least, I want to see Doinb getting out on the map. That's the big thing, especially post 6, like playing for Dragons, playing for controlling these side lanes, especially in the top lane. If you can get Pandac ahead of Demon on the Jax in the early game, then, I mean, Demon's just going to have a nightmare of a game from that point on.
Yeah, no, we actually saw this matchup played out between Rich and the Shy a couple of weeks ago. And I very graciously had to try and break down a matchup which I hadn't seen in a while. Now we've seen it, and we have first-hand evidence too. Yeah, Jax, if Pandac gets ahead in this matchup, he will absolutely take over. And the thing is, View as well on the Xin Zhao, a lot of the CC and damage comes from that 3 talent strike, which is all auto attacks, which is going to be very, very difficult to get through if Pandac is up levels, has the Counter-Strike skill points up, and it's just going to be off cooldown every 5, 6, 7 seconds. DPSing him is going to be an absolute nightmare. And in the 1v1, Demon can absolutely be dominated. Trying to bring the Ignite here, try and make that 1v1 work, but often not, it kind of just doesn't if you end up falling behind in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm just a little scared for Demon because this is his 3rd game in the LPL, and he's had pretty rough matchups, honestly. But this one, Pandac, like, this is another player that recently was in the LDL, so you should feel like Demon would have a better go of it. But game number 1 of this series did not go his way, and now being kicked out of this top side by Pandac, who gets a nice little trade there, just going back and forth on the autos. And Pandac buying a little bit of space in the top lane. Not much going to come off that early trade, honestly, as we have a very standard level 1 here. A tiny bit of deep vision on the top side there. You can see a red ward on the chickens, or in fact, that's just defensive vision. So no information to start us off, and both junglers starting on the bottom side.
Yeah, and it says to me that there's probably going to be a little bit of action towards this top side. Somewhere where there could also be a fair amount of action is actually Xing and Kedaya on this Nami Lucian. You know how much damage it can deal, especially at that level 3 mark, once all of the skills are there. Often not, you'll even see and one adaptation we actually saw was First Strike, I think, yesterday in the LEC from Lucian play. I can't quite recall who it was, but it just makes you deal so much extra burst damage as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, a little bit of bonus gold as well.
Bonus gold goes the distance, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly can be terrifying down in that bottom side. The Lucian Nami, I think one of my simultaneously favorite and least favorite lanes in the game, depending on which side of the matchup I'm on, is stunned in the mid lane. Flash from Shanks, nicely played by Tarzan. That was beautiful. Oh no! Oh, that was close. That was way too close. But Tarzan flashing forwards but holding the W, really nice stuff.
Yeah, really, really great bit of display there. That's what I like to call Viego syndrome. So you know how like when you hit Q with Lee Sin and like the urge to go is just always there.
Telling me no.
It's kind of the same thing for Viego forms as well. And I think Tarzan almost goes down because of that. But a really great play from him. Flash holds onto the Spectral more and just waits for Shanks to reposition. And is able to connect and also shoves out the wave in the mid lane to ensure that Doinb gets a positive reset off. Be able to return to his jungle and then potentially look elsewhere for more plays. We'll get a replay of it. It's just great discipline, right? As Shanks, there's not really much else you can do. Maybe you flash in a straight line and hope that the Spectral Maul doesn't have enough distance to catch you. But frankly, it probably was almost always going to.
Yeah, tough one for Shanks, but crucially, his flash now on cooldown against the Taliyah. That sucks. That is not a fun position to be in pre-6 as the Ahri. So could get some more visits in the mid lane from Tarzan. It would be very easy for Doinb to set that up. Big damage onto Xing in this bottom side. He's struggling. This is meant to be the Lucian Nami lane. This is meant to be them dominating.
Yeah, but the thing is, it comes online at level 3. They'd been heavily trading out beforehand, and now that they're level 3, expect the trades to be a little more favored towards Xing and Kedaya. But the fact that they don't actually have many resources left, right? Health pots, things like that. They started with Longsword 3 on Xing. He's already gone through all of those. Light only had that one pot. Definitely not a positive start for this Nami Lucian. Like I said, down in CS as well. But here's where the power spike comes in. But they're just out of resources. Like, they legit just don't have much left.
Yeah, Light just walks up and just starts hitting Xing, and Kedaya basically out of mana, getting a little bit of sustain out, but not enough to go for these all-ins. Demon slowly pushing out here. Dashes out to safety. Nicely done. Drops the ward. Good presence of mind from Demon. Knows exactly what's going on in the top side.
Yep, great. knowledge, and just 6 seconds. Oh, I'm probably going to be ganked in a second. Steps away. This trade. Pretty hefty.
Oh, that's dangerous. Pandac ignited, and that's going to be enough for him to back away. But that's a summon a burn from Demon right there. Nice pressure from Pandac. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my days.
I'm just going to say Q flash or W from Pandac. Probably kill Demon, but does he want to take the flip? That's my question. Yes.
Well, he's going to go in.
Yes.
Bit of damage there. Can't get the stun. Can't get the stun. Needs to not go under tower. If he steps under tower, he's dead. And I think he realizes
wants
it. No, he does not. He goes in. And he flashes out. Pandac! That was gorgeous.
That was so silky smooth on that 1v1 dive. Excellent stuff. Both those top lanes. It's just the top lane, like, battle of pride. I'm not going to base. No, you're not going to base either. Takes that 1v1. Flashes out as well. And it's such a acute timing to not take that second tower shot with that flash. Really, really great stuff. Replay immediately.
Man.
Let's just kind of see it, because Counter-Strike's down, so you're kind of expecting that Jax just isn't going to go for this. But as soon as Pandac steps back up, you kind of just know. Q, auto, W, dead. First tower shot comes in, flash out. The second one doesn't ramp up yet. Doesn't come out of that tower, and he's able to make it out alive. Excellent stuff from Pandac.
Yeah, that was about a split second away, I'm pretty sure. And it could have been disastrous for Pandac if he died, actually, because, you know, Death Timer on top of that without having TP up, maybe could have lost some minions, but Demon now hitting level 6. As in the meantime, on the bottom side, Viego to start this Drake up. WE having priority in that bottom side, or at least coming back first on the reset. So Kedaya can just help out with Drake. So nice, easy first Drake of the game there is Demon getting all in while Pandac is a level down. Pandac now hitting level 6, but I got a bit too aggressive on that one. Not a trade that he won.
Yeah, not a trade that he won in the health department at all. Has a biscuit, has a couple of corrupting pots as well, so we'll slowly heal back up Pandac. But you have to remember, really, Needlework gives a lot of flexibility to Gwen's all-in windows, whereas the ultimate for Jax is more or less just resistances to die a little bit less. So I think Pandac can live pretty happy with this one and actually look more proactively for aggressive trades, because he knows that the Needlework and the extended trades just aren't going to be there.
Yeah, Demon continuously trading, but again, as you say, the pot's available for Pandac. So, in fact, he's going to go for a reset right here. Doesn't have TP available, but he knows that this wave is going to slowly but surely push out back towards him. So, taking that opportunity to head back to base, restock those pots as well, and grab control ward for himself. In the meantime, these trades at the bottom side as well, still going the way of LNG. We saw Xing and Kedaya try and find that all in, but with the zoomies coming out from LvMao, it feels impossible for Xing to actually find significant pressure.
Yeah, definitely a lane that WE haven't really been paying too much mind to as well, when you kind of consider what View's been up to on the map so far, which hasn't admittedly been too much. And again, I think a lot of that actually comes from a relatively low amount of setup in these lanes from WE, and it's kind of limiting what he can do. Of course, did pick up that early dragon, which is very good. Gonna get the Skull Crab, hopefully, for himself. Pandac is making his way down. He's got the smite. Flash away.
We've got a bit of an all-in here. Okay,
Yeah,
Crescent Guard just dropped. I like that from View, though. The respect from the Pandac is like, no, I've got the crab. I'm out of here. Not going to waste any time.
Flash ult for Skull Crab. I'll call that W if I'm... Sorry,
I'll make that trade every day.
I'll make that trade.
That doesn't mean it's a good play, but I'll make that trade.
Yeah, exactly. But great collapse from LNG. Doinb cuts off that path of the retreat, forces View to have the flash. And actually, to be honest with you, LNG could probably look in the next couple of ways once they bounce back.
Oh, Xing's in trouble. Going to be rooted up the final chapter, doing a lot of work here. Light goes for the exhaust as well. Xing flashed on, and the Zeri Yuumi. Boy, do they have zoomies. Double kill for Light and LvMao.
How have Light and LvMao out 2v2'd Nami Lucian? I just have no idea, honestly. But to be honest, now that they've hit this level 6 mark, you know what I'm just going to say? They've scaled, I guess, question mark. As Shanks now potentially in danger.
Oh, no. Flash comes out, but it doesn't matter. Another kill for LNG, and it's just gone from 0 to 100 on the Rift here, and suddenly WE in serious trouble.
Yeah, it looks like by looking at the HUD that Shanks actually blew Spirit Rush off screen whilst he was looking at that 2v2 in the bottom side. We'll get a look at what exactly happens as Xing and Kedaya just both get hit by the Zeri Ultimate, and that final chapter as well just kind of locks them down in place. There's not enough return damage that can ever stand up to this when they didn't really have the health bars to begin with. Light and LvMao just went out pretty heavy-handedly in this 2v2. Really disappointed, I suppose. When you see a Nami Lucian lane, especially into Zeri Yuumi, you would expect that Xing and Kedaya would have the advantage, but they've been down in CS for a little while. They've been down in pressure as well. Now they finally get 2v2 killed.
It's a tough game here for WE. 2,000 gold down, but at least Xing will get some plates for himself. Should be able to get a second one as well. Pandac and Demon trading at the top side. Pandac trying to retreat here. The need to work. If it lands, this could be an opportunity for Demon to redeem himself. And he will take down Pandac.
All right, Pandac's over-aggression, shall we say, finally punished by Demon in the 1v1. The Ignite, the needlework comes in. Not quite respecting how much damage the rundown can really have. It was pretty nice of Pandac to at the very least dodge out one of those needleworks, but still just didn't have the health bar to survive. The rest of the burst damage will have teleport and make it back to a lot of this wave, but still giving Demon a solo kill in a winning matchup. One that you picked into as well is not necessarily the way you want to play out. Can't get too complacent still with the matchup, but has to find any avenue he feels to pick up a win.
Yeah. This feels very messy from both teams. Like, there's not many games where you see so many solo kills going across and 2v2 kills, right? We see Light and LvMao just straight up 2v2ing Xing and Kedaya. We see Demon and Panda just going at it in the top side. Panda getting a solo kill, then Demon answering with a solo kill of his own. This game feels kind of solo queue-esque, honestly. And now Shanks could be in trouble in the mid lane as well. Moves over to try and protect himself. Has to use that Spirit Rush. That'll be a big cooldown.
Big cooldown indeed. And that's kind of the thing with the interaction as well I was talking about with the Ahri. It doesn't interrupt the dash, right? It just stuns you when you go through it. So doesn't quite get locked down in this particular instance. This is a replay of the solo kill for Demon. As you can see, steps up. Pandac with the Counter-Strike. He's actually a level down taking that trade. And then he looks to step up again without Counter-Strike being up. Gets clipped by the first needlework and that slows him down. Dodges out mostly on the second, but the snip and the third and final one is enough to take him down. Just over eagerness to try and push his advantage in that 1v1. And Demon punishes on the corner.
Yeah, very nicely done. And it's a Drake taken by LNG as well here. So, my brain just switched the scoreboard around for a second. It was a Drake taken by LNG. But yeah, it will just be Herald slammed down in the bottom side. Light going to be able to get a massive amount of gold off the back of this one. And LNG already had a big gold lead for themselves, but that's just going to extend it even further. Oh, View's caught here. View does a flash. Will get over the wall, keeps himself safe. But I like this. We want productivity from LNG. We're getting it.
But yeah, absolutely we are. And it's definitely looking relatively consistent as well. It's just been Pandac who's died, of course, in that 1v1. So the rest of the map been playing out as cleanly as we've asked for, to be honest with you. Despite the messiness that has definitely been there from both sides, LNG still relatively focused in terms of getting Light all of these resources. I think I just saw him finish off that shield bow. I think he also had gold for a couple of components as well, not just the dagger. But still, one item at 12 minutes into the game is pretty damn accelerated for an AD carry when you've already got tier 2 boots as well. And we're looking to get towards the top side and potentially take down a couple of plates before those drop off in a minute's time.
I mean, Light is basically at the same position that he was on the Kalista last game, right? Same items as well, same amount of kills. Like, Light just seems to get ahead in these games. Xing and Kedaya having a really hard time of it. And when you play the Lucian Nami and you fall this far behind early on, like, there really isn't that much redemption that can come through for you, aside from maybe Kedaya building it as an item. It's going to be a tough one here for WE, as Light now moving up to the top side. He wants a couple more plates. We'll be able to find one. They're going to time out in 40 seconds. Maybe Light can get just one more off this next wave.
Maybe. It looks like Xing and Kedaya move up here and try and hover. Tarzan has the cat on his back. Just looking for a little bit of invade action whilst Light shoves up the top side by himself. Let's see whether or not he ends up picking up another play. It looks like he'll actually want to go and rotate over, as Tarzan will have to blow the Heartbreak up to make it out of that position. But he got the red buff, so massive W for him.
I'll take that. And especially with Viego, the ult cooldown doesn't feel that big of a deal. Like, it's important, but if you find a kill early on in a fight, you still get to ult in the fight. So it's not as big of a deal as a lot of other junglers' ultimates. So in the meantime, Light back up in this top side, just crashing wave after wave after wave. There's no one here to answer right now. We are going to see Xing and Kedaya moving on over, but I don't know, Light may be able to just finish this tower off before they even get it.
Yeah, there's a shield bow and a dagger and a Yuumi that is gonna get a couple of spell thieves and then really hop back on a bit of AD afterwards. Looks like it's gone pretty much though.
Quite. Xing trying to all in here, like half HP. Culling is going to be down. Xing can't quite finish that kill off. Can't quite make it happen. Light going to crash a wave, and even if he can't finish off the tower, the minions might well do it at this point, unless someone else tanks that tower. A stiff breeze will knock it over. As in comes Doinb, and Xing's been baited and outsmarted. Dashes over, flashes out, keeps himself alive. TP from Demon. As WE look like they want the fight, but there's no fight to be had, and look where Pandac is. He's just pushing away.
Yeah, no teleport on Pandac, and LNG just disengage the fight. There's nothing to fight over now that they've picked up that tower. And WE don't have any means of getting into the fight off the back of the teleport coming in. So it's just teleport to topside to reset. Riftmaker will come in for Demon, and on the bottom side, Pandac just gets a whole bunch of time to farm out the waves, pick up this Grump here. And he should have that Divine Sunder probably picked up on the next reset. Blue buff as well, just because he can.
This feels really bad for WE. That's a huge cooldown bit with the teleport. It means Pandac, in about a minute's time, when his teleport comes back off cooldown, he can find a flank opportunity that Demon won't be able to answer. Good little bubble from Kedaya onto Tarzan here as WE start this Herald off. But I don't know if they can turn it into much more. Laser comes out. Oh my god! Where did Kedaya go? Now the rest of the fight is Tarzan trying to get the resets, but he will fall. Jungler down for LNG. As WE try and turn this into a Herald for themselves. But can they actually contest this one? Because View, low on HP, backs away. And even though LNG lose their jungler, they still pick this Herald up.
Well, that's absolutely absurd. Get the Herald. Looks like Doinb will pick it up. And yeah, that is one of the, unfortunate weaknesses of piloting Nami. You are pretty fragile. You get one shot quite quickly. I even looked away for a fraction of a second and looked away. Kedaya was dead. And yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for him. And even with the loss of Tarzan, still able to pick up the Herald LNG. And we'll see what they get done with that replay on our screens. Let's just look at Kedaya get one shot because it looked pretty funny. Nothing else to say. It just looked really funny. He's dead. Simple as that. Boulder, Heartbreaker, knocked through the Unraveled Earth. Just a lot of burst damage to stand up to. And Tarzan does get jumped on quite quickly. Unfortunately, for the side of WE, he isn't able to pick up another form. Otherwise, that fight could have been even more one-sided than it was looking like it would be.
Light's in trouble, or is he? The Zoomies just keep him safe. The culling not enough. Light survives comfortably here. TP from Pandac and from Shanks, as Shanks just about gets away from the Counter-Strike. Laser in the mid lane. View in trouble. Will back away and keep himself safe. So, a tense moment for both teams, but nobody go down.
Yep. No, but man, how broken is Yuumi? I do not like the champion. Maybe over the wall. That's a big laser as well.
They're separated, and the double knockback comes through from Doinb as well. Shanks over the wall, but taken down. Tarzan can't quite get the reset. Goes down for his trouble. Pandac with a counter-strike. Actually falls as well. WE finding finding two on this one, sorry. As there's a Yuumi hidden away on someone's shoulder. WE in a 3v3 trying to clear this Herald out. Doinb moving forward. Misses the knockup, though. It will be LNG backing off.
All right, LNG still get that tier 1 tower. Tarzan went a little bit deep. Same thing for Pandac there, just following his jungler. I can appreciate the hand-holding on the play. But WE still lose out on the objective. The kill trades, still kind of nice to see them go positively, but my continued worry grows for W when pertaining to Light and LvMao on this Zeri Yuumi, because they are continuing to just dish out so much damage. That Spartan, I'm going to continue to call it the Spartan Laser, hits 3 people into this Unraveled Earth, which somehow managed to hit both of them. They looked a little bit far for it to hit both, but hey, Tarzan dives in, finds the kill onto Shanks, but unfortunately takes a little bit too much burst damage as the rest of LNG on the tower, except for Pandac, who was following his jungler to the death.
Look, I respect the commitment from LNG, though. Everyone just jumping in, because I feel like that's the big thing that LNG have been missing, is a bit of synergy, a bit of cooperation. And, well, Light's going in again. Xing, not long for this world, just gets one shot here, and I'm loving this combo of the Zeri Yuumi from Light and LvMao. Clearly a drilled combo, clearly something where they know how much damage they can do.
Did we just get Munchables on record saying he likes Yuumi? Sounds a bit questionable to me. Pandac looking for the 1v1, but it looks like Demon's got the health advantage here.
Yeah, and he's on the wrong side of the play as well. Pandac trying to escape, but I think he will actually get away with this one. No way does he start that Grom. Pandac You're an absolute madman. He's an absolute madman. But the counter-strike keeps him alive there.
Yep.
Kedaya taking a massive chunk. In comes Doinb. Tarzan's in too early, though, and we'll just get taken down. Big pick for WE. Maybe they can get onto Light as well, but looks like Light is going to be safe. Actually, Light going aggressive on this one. They're 2v4, and they just don't care. Doinb now moving into the play as well. Demon on the front line, buying space. The flick back from Doinb. This is 3v5, and Light dashes over the wall. Taken down finally. Xing barely surviving, but survive he will. And WE punish the over-aggression.
You just said, Munch, that LNG were finally playing a little more coordinatedly, but I think they're getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, having a little bit too much fun with this game. Yes, you do, on paper and honestly just one-to-one, contextually outscale WE. LNG, not gonna lie, but don't get overzealous. W can still very easily punish you like they just did. Light didn't have the ultimate, same thing for LvMao on this play, so you know, the threat of the play is a lot less, well, threatening because they just used a lot of their tools here to absolutely one-shot Xing in the mid lane, Xing rather, in the mid lane. And once he's down, sure, you have, you know, a lot of wiggle room to work with, shall we say. But Tarzan just doesn't make it over the wall of the Heartbreaker, gets bubbled, gets charmed, one shot on the plane. You can see now Light and LvMao on the bottom side split away from Doinb. Doinb has to rotate down and kind of wait for W to cede that ground. But you can see the damage threat just isn't quite as much without the Yuumi ultimate there, without the Zeri ultimate, and this charm just connects at the very tip onto Light, and they're able to just get the chase down in, and LvMao also gets knocked up and cannot rejoin onto the shoulder of Gwen.
Yeah, tough one there. 97 on the scoreboard, and you know what? It's not a clean game from LNG, but my god, is it a fun one. And I've been wanting LNG to play more aggressively, to be a better team to watch all split long. They have played so slow, and it hasn't felt like the players that we were watching. Not anymore, apparently, as Doinb corrals WE in. Pandac decides against the all-in, though. They decide against the engage they were setting up. Drake up in 25 seconds here as Tarzan moves forward. WE staying stacked up as the vision denied here. Pandac rejoining his team. No significant tank on either team. It's a difficult one to engage here as Tarzan could be left alone on this one. Everfrost has to ult out of the play as Pandac threatens the back line. Light using his ultimate, stacking that lightning, but caught by a charm and annihilated. WE looking for the redemption run that we talked about. A double kill for Xing as Tarzan left to flee. Doinb, though, still going on this one, but backs away.
Yeah, Light just walks into that charm really well aimed by Shanks. Just off the back of that single piece of CC, WE, they're able to turn this fight around. The redemption road, the fight is on. Munchables, it's still doable. They can still make it. It starts here with those 2 kills of that dragon, and maybe they can find the turnaround. If they can continue to find Light in some of these team fights. Pandac as well just isn't really geared yet to team fight. Let's get a look at the replay.
Time for a WE monologue at this point. It starts with failure. But then the success comes. Massive fight here for WE. And I mean, Xing grabbing this double kill. That charm out from Shanks. Gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, and it's from here at this point where, you know, the DPS threat of LNG significantly drops. Pandac is kind of just caught pandering in the middle of the team fight. He's just walking around. He can't really find anybody to hit. He can't find anybody to stun with that counter-strike either. Able to be turned around on, and the rest of LNG more focused on effectively just surviving, as there's no real threat also of Tarzan finding a reset without that Heartbreaker ultimate up and available, had to use it defensively.
Yeah, you know, pandas, they are an endangered animal, and I don't know if you've seen the videos online, but there's a very good reason for that, because the food that they eat is really not very good for them. They constantly just jump off of giant walls and cliffs and stuff like that. They're just permanently rolling around and wrestling with each other. Yeah, like that's an example of it in Pandac's team fighting right there. Bit of a weird one. TP, though, and he wants to redeem himself. That would be 1v4 if you go in on that one. There have been some wacky TPs today, Jamada.
Yeah, it really has. And I think LNG just... I think we had, I want to say it was Light in the sort of intro video of either this game or game number 1. Say, we just have to not in. We'll probably be fine. I think let's take a little bit of that advice right now. LNG, just again, I think some of the overconfidence kind of bleeding into the gameplay a touch, as they had a pretty firm control of this game maybe 5-10 minutes ago, but just giving a couple more kills over to WE, giving them the items to at the very least stand, you know, punch for punch, pound for pound, And when you take a look at the inventories, because they are matching pretty much across the board, right? Even Pandac, you could argue, right now is behind on Demon, who's gone for the Shadow Flame second. So just maximum damage output that he's looking for. Pandac still waiting for that second item to come in. I imagine he's pretty close because he's only sitting on a pickaxe.
Yeah, fairly close at this point. Pandac trying to threaten Demon, but will back away in the end. So at what point in this matchup does Pandac come online? Because I was led to believe this was a counter matchup in favor of Jax, but that has not been the case so far this game. Like, how many items does it take before Jax can really threaten the 1v1?
I mean, normally, even as early as 1 item, I think this game has just been a little bit strange, shall we say. Demon found a solo kill, of course, on Pandac, just because he was getting a little bit too happy in his lane, shall we say. And right now, it looks like Pandac is just not really at his second item mark right now.
Well,
and,
I mean,
Demon,
it's time to find out who can win the 1v1, right? Demon snipping away. Pandac forced to retreat. Cannot face up against that needlework. Just going to channel the recall instead. Light arrives to clear the wave. Well, I guess we found out. It's not at this point.
No,
we need more items on the Jax.
If he bases and picks up a second hull breaker, okay, I think the stats should probably give him the edge on Demon now. But honestly, I'm not too sure. I think we're going to have to just wait for them to butt heads again. The hull breaker is obviously a very strong scaling 1v1 item, but it's not the likes of, you know, a duelist item like a Blade King or just outright having maybe a Wit's End to sort of take a lot less damage from what is a very high damage build path from Demon, right? Shadow Flame, a whole bunch of AP, Magic Pen, even has a Needle Rod on top of that as well.
Yeah, I'm liking it though. I like this aggressive build from Demon. Just wants to one-shot everyone in a team fight, apparently, with the needlework. And, you know, it's good to see Demon having a good game for himself, because this is his 3rd game of the split. Not really had good performances to kick off his LPL career. So it's good to see him showing up a little bit in this game, managing to take it to Pandac in that laning phase. You know, 1-1-6 on the scoreboard, going for an interesting build where he wants to be a big carry.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, you look towards the side of LNG, a lot of squishy members when it comes to tanking up magic damage. So all it's going to take is Demon finding his way into the backline once and just hitting multiple members with that needlework. And yeah, he's going to kind of shred through the health bars of LNG quite quickly. One very crucial item breakpoint I would like to highlight as this 3rd dragon approaches is once LvMao picks up that Mikhail's, because we've seen Light get hit by 2 charms back to back. And of course, running the barrier means that he doesn't have cleanse. However, once that Mikhail's actually comes in, Light will have a lot more freedom to do what he wants in these team fights, because if he just gets Mikhail's out of that charm immediately, then he can obviously respond. And,
great little ult there from Doinb, just blocking WE off from contesting this Drake. Nice stuff there. And crucially as well, you're talking about Light, right? 3 items at this point. Infinity Edge finished off, so he's going to be really dishing out the damage. 3 items for Doinb in that mid lane as well. You've got 2 items on your top and your jungler. And then, as you say, Mikhail's just around the corner for LvMao. So feeling like LNG are in a pretty nice spot at this stage, but not massively ahead, especially compared to where they were earlier on in the game. But I think that they've acknowledged that, right? What we saw earlier on was, you know, just charging at WE, trying to just brute force these fights, realizing it's not working, realizing they can't just manhandle their opponent, and they've started to take it slow. They've got that soul coming up in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. There's Baron on the map that they can play around. I like that LNG are playing with a little bit of respect and not throwing games away.
Yeah, it definitely starts to look like it from that sort of 18 to 24 minute mark, but yeah, definitely the last 5 minutes or so they just calmed themselves down. I think that's the crucial thing, just taking a second to kind of just focus back in the game. It's very easy when you start to get a lead like what we are seeing for Light and LvMao to just get ahead of yourselves, step too far forward. Same thing with Pandac, who's been playing, I think it's very safe to say, recklessly at multiple times throughout this game, and over the course of the last couple of minutes we've seen less of that. WE, you can see their options in terms of actually finding picks have slowly dwindled because LNG haven't been giving them those opportunities.
Demon pushing up in this bottom side. There's a stone coming on through. Is this the moment where Pandac outscales? We'll have to find out. Demon, though, has a TP, has reinforcements from Shanks, and stops Pandac going for the all-in. In the meantime, here comes Doinb. They want a 2v2. Doinb actually finding a 2v1 here as he jumps over to that side of the wall. In the meantime, 3v3 in the mid lane. Kedaya's almost gone already. Xing locked up and taken down. There's the reset for Tarzan as View. Next on the chopping block, uses the Crescent Strike. Tarzan has to escape himself, but Light's still going. And that's all that matters for LNG. A knock back onto View and an opportunity for a Baron.
Yes, finally LNG find themselves a fight which is wholeheartedly in their favor. They find the resets as well for Tarzan. And Light, crucially, doesn't get one shot in a team fight. And look at that, LNG win. Who would have thought? The Baron is already at 3.5k. There's no jungler for WE. Are they still going to look to contest without some of the key ultimates? It looks like they were definitely toying with the idea, but LNG had forced them away. And LNG will walk away with Baron and all 5 members. Finally, the clean play that we needed from them to see whether or not they can actually snowball and close this game out.
Yeah, massive pickup for LNG, and it feels like that is now going to be the catalyst to speed this one up and for LNG to start to pressure WE a little bit more. Let's take a look at the start again, because we were looking at the bottom lane at this point. Oh my god.
Nerf it!
That
Nerf it!
Nerf
it already! Nerf it! I need to see less of this Spartan laser nonsense. Like, I get it. It's Nami, half health, very squishy champion. Cool, 3 items, yada yada yada. Does it look healthy, Munch? Because it doesn't look healthy to me. They're able to run down Light, of course.
Thing, right?
Yeah.
I know they reduced the cooldown of Lux's ultimate to make her more viable, but then they just replaced her with a champion that does it every 4 seconds instead. Like, the range at which Zeri can do that, she's meant to be a short-range AD carry, and yet she can just one-shot a Nami from halfway across the map. It is completely absurd. Let's take a look at the map, though, as we'll stop ranting. Oh, no, View in trouble. He will be knocked to safety here on the right side of the plate. Knocked back, though. Big damage onto View. Half his HP gone already. And now look at this. LNG pressuring top side, pressuring bot side, looking for towers.
Yes, they are. Pandac on the top side as well, as View gets knocked back in. Ultimate will save his life, though. LNG will, however, still pick up this tier 2 on the bottom side, and it seems like Demon may have been forced away on the top side. Either way, he's given the window up to Pandac to pick up that tier 2 as well, so a lot of gold just being swung into the favor of LNG off the back of this Baron. Power play you can see in the top right hands of your screens. 3.7k to drop down as a couple of creeps starting to fall in to WE's hands. And LNG just take the reset. Very happy with those towers. Probably going to be looking to fight at that Infernal Dragon, pick up the soul, and go from there.
Yeah, 40 seconds on that soul. As Xing and Kedaya try and fight for priority. You can see View alongside them. In fact, the whole gang from WE moving over here, but Doinb and Tarzan should be enough to just clear this wave and maintain river control here. The laser comes out. Shanks manages to avoid it. Demon in the brush. Pandac needs to be a little cautious. But LNG, they have the waves pushing in both side lanes as well. So WE going to lose a lot of resources for contesting here. And Light just needs one laser with everyone grouped up like that. Shanks, there goes half his health. 700
so
magic damage.
Yes. more poke damage from ADC Zeri. Yes,
oh my
God,
God,
it's
Shanks.
so balanced.
Oh no, View's in trouble now as well. Light stacking. Oh no, he can use the Weaver's Wall to buff his laser as well. Waiting for the W. Shanks just about gets away. But the final chapter onto View, as I nearly die on my own saliva. It's going to be Demon chased into the Dragon Pit, stunned on up, and finished off. That'll be Soul. It's a double kill for Light in the meantime, as Kedaya probably got one shot by a laser.
Yeah.
And now it'll be LNG finishing this one off.
Look, I know as a caster, part of my job is trying to keep my cool and not get emotional. But what is that, man? It just looks so disgusting. LNG, Light on this series in particular, has been an absolute monster. Yes, they had a little bit of fun in the mid-game. And it seems like the fun has come to an end. They're onto the Nexus Towers. WE, unfortunately, are going to take their 2-0 loss. And with this, Munch, I don't think they're going to make it to playoffs, mate. I think the dream might be dead.
This is heartbreaking for WE fans everywhere. That is it. WE are officially out of playoffs contention. It only took them 12 losses, but they are now out of the running. LNG, though, on a positive note, keeping their hopes of fighting for a higher seed alive. They are 7-7 now in the standings with 2 series to go. So possible for them to get up to 9 wins here, and would be a reasonable position to finish off. And I feel like we have seen some positives here today from LNG. You can see clearly, when the players are laughing that hysterically at the end of things, I'm not sure they necessarily were taking that game as seriously as perhaps they could have, but ultimately, still a win, Still a great series from LNG, and a bit of confidence probably restored within the team.
Yeah, and again, you know, from specifically the Game 1 draft, seeing a lot more aggression come out from LNG is definitely a very big positive. We spoke about at relative length after Game 1 and during Game 1, honestly, about how there was a lot more scaling and a lot more slow gameplay kind of being brought to the LNG side, and how we not necessarily disliked it, but it's not what we wanted to see, I suppose, as, you know, pundits and or even fans to a degree. And finally seeing that at least against WE is nice to see that they're actually capable of playing the style, but it's about whether or not they can play that style against some of the more aggressive teams as well in the LPL, the teams that will, you know, fight you tooth and nail in the early game with those kind of compositions. Still, seeing them execute, especially in Game 1, a lot cleaner than they did in Game 2, is a really big bonus for LNG. And I think the other key thing is they're all on the same page today. Yes, again, with the caveat into WE, but that's the important part.
Well, mostly. There were some weird moments, but yeah, definitely an improvement on the coordination, that's for sure. I just want to address something that you accused me of during the game as well. You accused me of enjoying a Yuumi. I will say, I'm going to own up to it. I did enjoy this Yuumi because, you know what? Light and LvMao did not play like they had a Yuumi in that lane. They went aggressive, they dominated the 2v2, and then anytime anyone stepped up, they dashed forwards, used the ultimate, and just one-shot them. Okay. If you're going to play Yuumi like that, I'm on board, LvMao. That's the kind of Yuumi I want to see.
All right, you know what, chat? You heard what he said. He likes Yuumi. Lock him up. Pitchforks, whole 9 yards. Get him in prison ASAP. Munch just admitted that he's a war criminal. Who would have thought of everybody on the LPL? LNG.
You know, I wish I hadn't done it live on recorded television. Because now that's going to be brought up in court. It's going to be a nightmare.
Good luck. Good luck pleading your case against this hard evidence, buddy. All right.
I know. Twitter's going to be a nightmare for the next week, that's for sure. Ultimately, though, all memes aside, this is a fantastic win for LNG because they were on a loss streak as well. Like, even if it is just WE that they're beating, like, it's still a positive. It's still going to bring some morale back to the team. Like, just getting a win, especially a fun win like that, a confident win like that, it's always going to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, I didn't even notice LvMao finished up the warding. I can't remember the first part of it. I think it's like something Ixtal, or it's just called like